Okay, let's change the coolant on this GSXR. It's a GSXR 750. To do that, we got to drain the rad. As you can see, we've already drained the oil. We're starting to drain the oil. You can see down there, we've just removed the plug. It's a 17 mil plug. We got our handy dandy tools over there. So the plug, it's accessible very easy. We're also going to change a brake fluid, and actually to drain the coolant, we're just going to pull off this bottom hose right here. But to fill it up, we need to be able to bleed it from the top. So as you can see, there's a radiator. What we have to do is, so in order to change the coolant, we can see there's a radiator and the cap is down right in there. That's where we have the cap. So in order to change that, we have to take off the plastic. So all the fairing here has to come off. So we got to get all that off. Okay, so we're going to change the antifreeze in 2013 GSXR 750. This is the newer style, M, I think, because the K was a previous version. So, as you can see, here's a radiator, here's the overflow tank. We're just going to disconnect the rad hose, but not on this side. We're going to disconnect it on the other side, because as you can see on this side, it goes up, so it's too high, so we're not going to get a proper drain. We're going to go to the other side. What I basically wanted to say is getting this off was not easy at all. You can see there's a bunch of little clips. Here there's a screw there. There's a clip at the top. Actually, I didn't even have to take that one out. You can see there it is on the other side. So I'll put that back. And basically to get out the fairing, it is not, it's not an easy task. If we go over here, we can see here's the fairing. It's in good shape, nothing broke. So that's kind of nice. It's really good. The hardest part was on the rear, and it's right, where are we here? Right there. That is the hardest part to get off. I couldn't figure out what was going on. If you look at your fairing, it's right on this part here, I guess, just over the center part. And what that is, okay, it goes right there. That part I showed you, it's right there, and that is the hardest part. Everything else kind of just snaps apart. You'll confine. There's little clips as you go down. It's really not that difficult. There's some Allen keys right there. You can see I put one back in so I wouldn't lose it. 5 mil is the size for most of them. Anyway, that one thing popping out, I thought I was going to bust it, but never did. And that's it. Now we should be able to get to here. Now to take this piece off, I don't know, it looks like it's a lot of work, and there's this, so I think we can just pour it into here. We should be able to get it. And there's our overflow tank. If we come over to the other side of the bike, you can see it's pretty loose. I didn't even have to disconnect these ones right here. The reason I took this out as well is doing some general service. 17 mil bolt on the bottom, that's for the oil. And then when you look in here, you can pull back and go in here like so. And there we have our oil filter. So we changed our oil filter. So we did the whole service on it, so I figure I might as well just do a bunch of work on it. So we did that, but what's more important is if we look at our radiator right in here. So there's our radiator. There's the lower hose. Follow the hose down through the fairing, and we can see right here at the bottom, here's where we're going to drain it. This is the lowest point. We're going to just pull it off there, and we are going to drain our coolant. Okay, now we don't want to forget to drain the reservoir, because this reservoir has got a bunch of dirty fluid in it, or the old fluid. So what we can do, just going to zoom in there, there's just a clamp at the bottom right there. We can just undo that clamp and let what's in the reservoir drain out. All right, so now just for a little science project, we're just going to see how much came out. I know we lost some on the floor, not a whole lot, so let's just measure and see. All right, now if we look here, it looks like not a whole lot, about 2 liters out. So I don't know if that's what we should do, but you know what? It's good enough for me. The fluid wasn't that dirty, so let's just change it. We're at least changing a good portion of it. here's the fluid that we're going to use. So we're going to use Suzuki fluid. I know some guys say to use whatever, but I just like to put in whatever came out. This way there's no worries about anything. So first we want to make sure we top up the reservoir good, because we're going to have to run it, and it's probably going to, if it has air bubbles, it's going to suck more fluid back. So let's put some in there. There we go. So we put about 200 ml in there. And now we're going to fill up the actual radiator. As long as we get the 2 liters pretty much back in, what came out, what came in, we'll run it a bit. If we have a little bit of an air bubble or something like that, it should suck it out of the tank, but we'll make sure we run it. We don't want to take it riding right after we do this. And there we go. It's full, and actually that's pretty much almost 2 liters exactly. And you can see on the bottom, there's just a wee bit left if you can see it. It doesn't really show up on the light, but it's about, oh, there you go, you can see it. It's really not much left. So that's pretty much what came out, what goes back in. Alright, so now we got the bike running. You can hear it. And if we go over here, there we go. So now what we want to do, hopefully you can hear me, is we want to go down below. This is okay to leave off because that's just the overflow tank. It's actually not under pressure. This is what's under pressure, so we want to make sure we have our cap on. And we're going to feel to make sure that our hoses are getting warm, and then once that happens, we know that the coolant's actually flowing. So you should be able to feel the heat shortly. So I won't bother you with that part. Okay, we're at the point now where we're just waiting for the fans to come on. And jump down. There we go, and I just felt the fans come on. They are blowing hard. So we should see the temperature reduce now. It should go back down now in a second. And then what we'll do is we'll just wait for the bike to totally cool down, and then we'll check the level in the coolant tank again. Because what will happen is the level in the coolant tank is probably going to go down. And what I mean by coolant tank, I mean the expansion tank right here. I've run the bike through a few heat cycles, and you can see that's the level of the coolant, so I think we're okay. And actually, interesting thing, if you come right around to the front of the bike, and you look underneath, within the fender here, almost impossible to see. Ah, there we go. You can see there's the coolant level, and let me see if I can zoom in. There you go, there's the full and the empty level. You can see the 2 bars. So we're right in there, so we're good. So now what we can do is we can put the fairing back on. Okay, so I just want to show that that's the fairing, how I took it off. Like I was mentioning, that's the hard part to pop off, but once it comes off, the whole thing will come off. So if we turn this around like this, and this is just gonna fit just like this back on the bike. Right there, you can see all the little clips, and everything goes down one piece. Really easy to do. Like I said, don't be afraid of that one pop. That's the problem. I didn't know what was going on. Good catch. The only thing is we have to put the plug back in my my coolant reservoir, because we don't want to leave that open. So we'll do that right now. Okay, so we're just going to put the plug back in because we are all done now. We can put the fairing, which is right here. We can lift that up and put that back on. None of the clips are in, but just to show you, right in here, right behind here, I don't know if you can see, but right in behind here, there is there's one pin there, and then there's that scary one that's right there. But once you push those on, you can see it's loose, and now what we have to do is just put in the little Allen bolts there, there, right there, right there, and then underneath there's some clips, and then it just ties together with clips on the bottom, and that's it. Done.